When was the moment you realized you didn't really fit in with your friend group anymore? Spent all day trying to get any of them to go see a movie with me that evening. Called people, texted people, no one was available. I decided screw it, I'll go alone and went early to get a ticket and caught a good number of the people I invited coming out of the movie together. They dodged me. I sat in my car and wept until the movie started, then wept the whole way home. Over the summer I realized I didn't have any contact information for a single one of them, and they didn't have mine. Then when school started again they would talk about hanging out outside of school all the time, and I realized I was just a school friend and they didn't really care to hang out with me. I've had that happen as an adult in the working world. It's frustrating. When I quit putting in the effort to make the plans, I realized I was a third wheel in the group that wasn't invited unless I did the actual work. I was basically ghosted. That's the worst. It's the realization that if you got hit by a car today and ended up in the hospital and needing help, they wouldn't be there. That if something happened and you needed to take care of yourself, they won't be there. The second they began demanding nice little extra things I'd do for the friendship, the second it became expected rather than appreciated was when I was done with it. Man. They started expecting me to pay for snacks at the store when I covered for them once. Weird, but whenever my friends get married and I am part of the wedding, I never hear from them after that. This has literally happened to 3 of my, what I thought were, closest friends. Marriage changes people. They often don't have any use anymore for their single friends. Can't really relate to them. I wouldn't sweat this one much. When I was drunk at a party, and 911 needed to be called for a former friend that I frankly hated, everyone disappeared when the ambulance and police were heading over. I was stuck drunkenly telling her mom over the phone that her daughter had a severe panic attack and possible alcohol poisoning, and that I was sitting with her while waiting for emergency responders. Her mom kept saying I must be her one genuine friend, and I hated that girl for being a petty backstabber. Even if I hate someone, I wouldn't leave them drunk and alone in the middle of a panic attack. I cut those friends off after that. It had been a long time coming. The rest of my time at college was very lonely. I found myself homeless and they all disappeared. Came back around again when I got an apartment, but I just didn't want to rekindle the friendships. Dang, that sucks. I'm sorry, but good for you for recognizing that they weren't worth your time. Real friends stick with you through everything, especially the bad stuff. So if they abandon you when you're struggling the most, not only are they crappy people who lack compassion, but they are not your friends. You deserve so much better, and I really hope things are going better for you now. When it went from smoking a little weed, drinking a few beers, and taking the occasional dose, to opiate abuse and full-blown alcoholism. In other words, when it went from just having some fun to serious addictions, it was time to go. For the record, most of them are dead now. Despite my username, I'd prefer they still be alive. In college I went through a transition. I had all these old friends from high school that were comforting, but had slowly lost everything we had once had in common. I had made new friends with the people my then boyfriend hung out with and we all seemed to jive better. But being 20, I still had fantasies that my old friends and my new friends would combine into some big happy friend group. For my 21st I invited my boyfriend's friends and my old friends to join me at a bar together. One of my old friends bailed. One came but complained about the place, the food, the music, and the men, until she found one she liked and left with him. And my best friend from high school came, absolutely strung out, cried when no one wanted to go smoke with her, got jealous when people bought me shots, and got picked up by some other loser we went to school with and said I was a square for not joining to go take pills with her. The 3 new friends were flabbergasted. They asked if we could start the night over. I remember distinctly that all of this had happened and it was not quite 10 PM. That was the moment I realized that my old friends weren't really friends at all, but more people I had been in proximity to for a while. I agreed to roll a do-over for the night and we ended up having a great time. They were bridesmaids at my wedding. They are the godparents to my children. I genuinely don't have any friends that didn't meet my husband first, and I would never have it any other way. They're all lovely. I definitely know the feeling of mixing old and new communities and how disastrous that can be. It's like taking a step backwards in your own life journey. And with the old friends it also starts to get to a point when you're around them that it feels more like a sense of guilt for trying to hold the relationship together than a sense of excitement for building toward the future. I just noticed that anytime I hung out with them I was irritated. We had all been a great friend group from middle school through high school, but as we progressed through our 20s, priorities and things that we all found fun changed drastically. I could not stand the people that they became friends with outside of her friend group, and those people couldn't stand me. One of the incidents that stands out most in my mind is that while spending the evening with this friend group I put lipstick on and then proceeded to be judged by all of the other girls in the room, with them all saying I hate makeup. I think anyone who wears makeup is superficial. I was also irritated at the way that they conducted themselves in terms of making plans. I'm a very impatient and spontaneous person, but I am at least aware that a little bit of planning is required when deciding to go on camping trips or travel to another state or country. These folks were kind that just go by the seat of their pants. It would wind up being one of the more stressful times because no arrangements had been made in advance and no research had been done. They also would never give me solid answers if I invited them to things like concerts. I would wind up missing out on things because I didn't want to go to them by myself, but my friends would never say yes or no until it was too late. When I realized they always talked very poorly about a girl who was in the same class as us in junior year. The girl came from a middle rich family, so she had some manners we didn't. We were from the hoods, so they were always talking dirty about her and criticizing her. That girl was never mean to any of us and was the kindest person I have met until then. I never said defended her when my friends talked, but it was seriously growing on me and I just left that group. I slowly stopped talking to them, and I became real good friends with her, and she is today one of the person I trust a lot. Talk about an upgrade. Good on you, and good on her. I've honestly never felt like I fit into a friend group ever. I have friends who I love one-on-one, but find that when a core group of 5+ starts there's always drama or weird expectations. With my high school friend group, it was the first year we started college. They all went to the same one and I didn't. I made new friends and my high school friends were annoyed that I didn't hang out with them all weekend. Every weekend. Then with my college friends, we just drifted apart after we graduated, which is fairly normal. Everyone I worked in retail with grew really close, until everyone paired up except for me. Suddenly I was hanging out with 6 couples instead of 12 people. Plus I quit. I usually still chat with the person I was closest to in the group, but don't really keep in touch with the group as a whole. When I started to have thoughts like, I can't say that, it's too weird, they don't get it or won't understand. Am I always this weird? To be honest, I only have like 3 friends. 2 of 16 years, 1 of 20. They're the only people I feel like I be the realest me and don't worry about being judged. Yep. Friends aren't supposed to watch you trying to remember what I say so that they can talk crap behind my back while taking what I said out of context. When I spent a semester in and out of a hospital for surgeries and stuck back at home, and exactly 1 person contacted to ask if I was okay, twice, in 6 months. They sent flowers and called every day to another girl who had a head cold for a week. This. Found out during lockdown people were only going to ask if I was okay if I asked them first. When they started getting married one by one and having kids, after that, everything they did revolved around couples activities or kids activities. Those of us left in the group who are single were sort of shut out. My best friend and his wife live a block away from me. They have a 2-year-old and a newborn. I totally understand him not being as available as he was before. I'm just happy for the times we can chill. 10 years ago we were doing all sorts of fricked up stuff. It's weird to see him as a responsible father, haha. When we started getting older and seeing that working to pay for weed and video games should start going to saving for a house. After house, back to weed and video games. I was standing in line to get into a bar with friends. The friend in front of me, Jason, was bumped and backed up and stepped on my new shoe. I gently placed my hand on his back, more to keep him from falling, and said, "Whoa bud, my shoe." Dude turns around and sucker rushes me. Without knowing what's going on, I am laying on the ground with him standing over me. I wasn't really in danger. I protected my head when I fell and was in a position to roll him into traffic if he tried to swing down on me. After a few moments of me asking him confused why we are playing on the sidewalk, nothing happens. He lets go when the bouncers get to noticing and he walks away. Everyone is dumbfounded at what happened. Problem is, not one person asked if I was okay. No one left to get a drink with me. No one was overly concerned about this unprovoked attack except to see if Jason was alright. Okay, whatever. I leave and as I am walking home I call who I thought was my best friend at the time to hash out what just happened. No answer. Then like 5 minutes later I get a call from Jason crap talking and referencing the voicemail I had just left my best friend. She let him and the group listen to it and ridicule me. The most hurtful part was this line. I still remember vividly to this day. Turd monkey 2. No one wants you here. No one invites you. You're just there. It hurt because it confirmed something it always felt. See, I only met this friend group through my true brother of a best friend. They all loved him and he wouldn't chill without me, so they just tolerated me to hang out with him. Well, after he died it just always felt like they were pity friends. I pushed that feeling down, but that line totally confirmed it. I'm just one of the out of focus background guys to the group. Never got a follow-up call from any friend. Never got any reasons why the attack. Just sat at home stone sober and realized this was a blessing. I cut out every single friend I had from that group, including my butthole bestie. Frick you Joes. Yeah, frick Josh. I had a friend group where someone fricked me over, then they decided he was still a cool guy and kept hanging out with him. Then he fricked one of them over and all of a sudden they could see he was a bad guy. SMH. Sorry you had to go through that. I hope you're doing okay now. When I deleted social media to better my health, they stopped talking to me cause it's too much work to use the iMessage app. Currently in a similar boat. I killed Facebook and haven't felt compelled to come back. When I realized that most of what they considered funny were jokes at my expense or things that embarrassed or humiliated me in some way, it took me far too long to make the decision to stop seeing them, as I don't find it easy to make friends and these guys had been with me since primary school, but it was the right decision. I have better friends now. Oh my god, this. There were many toxic things about my former friend group, but you just made me realize that this happened a lot as well. When they started making plans without me, hanging out with other friends, it seems as if they climbed the social ladder and I fell down it. Those aren't friends, mate. Friends take you with them up the social ladder. Buttholes trade their company for company that will benefit them more. When I was a kid I hung with a group of 3 dudes throughout junior high and high school. After high school, I went into the Air Force. I came back on leave after about a year and they were into weed, speed, you name it. I knew they were into weed before I left. One of the reasons I did go into the Air Force. They were gone and that was sad. I never went back after that. We all took different career paths. I still wanted to hang out, but there was a vibe that I couldn't shake that they didn't want to hang with me anymore. So the one a month things became once every few months, and now down to texting on birthdays, that sort of thing. Miss you guys still. This one hits close to home. After I made my birthday private on Facebook I don't even get the birthday wishes anymore. When I brought my stereotypically handsome boyfriend into the shop for them to meet and they all treated him like herpes. He wasn't on the rainbow spectrum, was mentally sound, and he looked like he walked off a runway, so of course they hated him. I thought these people were cool because they accepted my awkward bisexual self and all my anxiety, but as soon as they met him, it was like pulling teeth to get them to acknowledge him, and my best friend, who was very gay BTW whisper shouted it looks gay, presumably because she assumed he'd be insulted. None of them ever used gay as an insult before. It was just for him. She also said, I'll be here to pick up the pieces when this crashes, and burns right in front of him. She talked a lot about people who bullied her in school. Apparently his sister was one of them, but she'd never met this dude before. She was the worst, but everyone in there who I considered a friend was openly hostile, and the only reason I could gather was because he was normal. I thought they were a safe place, but apparently only if you meet their standards. Sadly so many people are like this, not just people on the LGBT spectrum. As a religious person, I have to admit there are a lot of religious people like this as well. When toxicity is too strong, when you feel alone despite being with them, when you feel that they don't listen and you won't like to listen to them, or when you start having thoughts about you not caring about them anymore. I ended a long relationship with a very toxic group that I got for plenty of years, and now I am in a new group and finally feel happy again. When they stop talking to you, they stop inviting you out for things. Communication is one way from you to them. Just ghost you. When they started doing hard drugs and trying to beat the crap out of each other nightly for petty reasons, I realized that I had become their babysitter mediator. Never looked back. Now 3 of them are in prison. Sitting in a nightclub, in uncomfortable clothes, being subjected to crap music, nursing a drink on my own, having no part in any of the smaller group conversations my friends had broken up into. Realized I had very little in common with them anymore. Decided if I was going to be drinking alone, I might as well do it with some decent tunes. Left the club and wandered up the road to the rock club. Met some new people and had fun for the rest of the night. No one had gone out with checked where I'd gone till the next day. Kind of cemented the fact that I was pretty unnoticeable to them. Just to note, one of the people I met in the rock club that night is now my wife of nearly 10 years. Yay, happy endings. Spending time with them became exhausting. People are supposed to change and evolve, and after being friends with people who don't do that, you realize they feed into each other's lack of change and outgrow them. It doesn't mean they're bad people, but it's important to spend your time wisely and not to waste it with people you aren't happy around. Well said. When they all got married and started having kids, and I'm still single with no kids, I can't relate to their conversations anymore. They all decided to hang out at the mall without me, not knowing I was also at the mall and saw them. One of the girls had her boyfriend call me to see if I'd cover his shift at work so that they could keep hanging out. Them not inviting me was normal, but them trying to get me to work extra so they could spend more time together was a new low. There was another girl who always claimed to feel left out too, and they had her text me and pretend she wasn't with them that day even though she was. So they tricked me on top of it. I lost it and cussed them out when they kept calling me about taking the work shift. It wasn't my finest moment. I spent the next year being isolated in every class in school because that group and anyone that had been friends with both me and them before all chose them, and I had absolutely no friends. It was a year of heck, and I ended up apologizing because the loneliness was so hard. Luckily, it was my senior year of high school, so I dropped them all after that. Good riddance. Most of them turned out to be pretty crappy people and are not the ones you hear about that grow up after high school. They all still hang out together though. Good for you, be strong sis. Assume you're a girl. 6 months after graduating high school, not a single one believed me when I said I'd been with a girl in college for a couple months when we had a little reunion of sorts. I guess I had tried to ignore the negativity when I was around them almost every day. But it became pretty obvious 6 months later that, out of the ones that showed anyways, they all thought I was a loser. When I grew aware that they left me out of their conversations, their interests and their future plans, that the only reason I was around was because I had money from being the only one working, that my dreams and aspirations were shut down by them instead of supported. I miss the gaming nights we had, but I don't miss being taken advantage of. When every time I expressed a view or opinion on some innocent topic, they jumped to disagree and argue with me, no subject was safe. It began to feel like everything I said was wrong. We kept inviting everyone over for a fun evening and everybody just sat there after dinner was done like, well, entertain us. One day my spirit went dry and we just watched Slav memes and everyone left quite quick. They never invited me and my girl over, so we laid low and waited for them to make a move. Been 3 years now. Sounds like you would rather watch memes with your girl than have a dinner party, and that's totally okay. About halfway through high school, we all had dreams of getting out of the ghetto and becoming something, but around that time they started freaking up, having kids, dropping out, doing drugs. Out of a friend group of 6, I'm the only one that actually got out of the ghetto and became something. Haven't really bothered to make friends since then, TBH. I can't quite pinpoint it, I just often got ignored, forgotten. talked over and the like. I don't quite have the same sense of humor as them. I don't have any shared interests. I just felt like a total outsider to the group. Heck, any group, for that matter. I'm sick of living on the periphery, feeling like the odd piece of the puzzle. I seem to have the same issue. Even with my only 2 real friends, I would become the outsider the second more people are included. Not so much a friend group but a specific friend. When I told her I was pregnant, she said that this was her worst nightmare because now she could never catch up with me in life milestones. No need to stay being friends with competitive people who see good things happening to you as threats to their own happiness. I like to call that a Ron Weasley friendship, where your supposed friend resents all your good luck or achievements and covets it for themselves. When they started ghosting me and fricking my sister after our friend took his life, really dark period for me, but I went on to find much better friends, and have since gone no contact with my sister, for a variety of reasons. That's ducked up. My whole high school and college careers, I'd been a strong Christian, went to the youth groups, retreats, the whole 9 yards. That's where I'd met most of my friends, and we stayed close. My junior and senior year of college, I got burnt out on Jesus and decided to stop going to church 3 times a week, deciding instead to stay home usually. The summer after senior year of college, my best friend married a girl we'd met together back in high school, and I wasn't invited to the wedding. All the other Christian homies were there, but not even a save the date for me. Was pretty clear that they were done with me, and I needed to be done with them. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.